Hello and welcome to Books and Beyond. I'm Jimmy Bennett, your host. Books and Beyond is the show where we help writers, artisans, people of any kind of creative people. Hopefully they'll help them personify their aspirations. A couple of things I'd like to point out is behind me, green screen. Huh? I thought that was pretty cool. So we'll be doing a little bit more of that. That's new. And I have a couple of announcements I'd like to make. First, I want to give a shout out to CAPA, the Connecticut Authors and Publishers Association. I belong to the Southeastern chapter, and it's a great organization for anybody who has anything to do with the written word. It's a great networking, meet a lot of great people, it's very inspirational. And if you're writing a book, a writer, or want to write a book, or want to do something with the written word, I strongly advise you to check it out. You can find us on Facebook. And my other announcement is, one quick one is Operation Fresh Start, which is run by Shannon DePerry, is a wonderful organization that helps people, well, get a fresh start in life. Helps them get anything from bedding to furniture to linens to clothing to backpacks. And she's just built a wonderful organization. It's done so much good for so many people. And this Saturday, May 21st, she's having a plant and artisan sale at 93 Sunrise Avenue in Pawcatuck, Connecticut. And yours truly will be there. I'll be there signing books. I would like everybody to come out and support the thing. Come say hi. It should be a beautiful day, so she'll love it. So anyways, let's get to the show because I'm pretty excited. I have a guest today, Deborah Ann Davis. Hi, Deborah. How are you?
I'm great. How are you doing?
Deborah was on my show last year sometime, but it was Zoom. We
Yep.
were in the middle of COVID.
Yep.
Not that we're really out of COVID, but we're doing a little better.
Yes.
So anyway, I got her to come back into the studio, so I'm very, very happy about that. She's got a lot going on. She wears a lot of hats. She's an author, a
Yes.
speaker,
Yes.
educator.
Yes.
Well, there's a few others in there too, isn't it?
I was a career science teacher, and I worked to help moms improve their relationships with their teenage daughters.
Right. That's beautiful. So first, we'll get to a lot of that in a minute, but first I want to talk about your first two books, Fairly Safe and Fairly Certain. Mm-hmm. They are YA?
Yep, young adult novels. Humor suspense with a twist, which I'm pretty sure is not a genre, but that's what they are.
Yeah. And what got you into writing that?
Well, Lyme disease did. I got bitten by a tick, and then I got bitten by the writing bug. So
All right.
the tick made me stop teaching for a while because of the Lyme, and I was really bored and had kind of like brain fog from it, and I couldn't focus on things, like I couldn't watch TV. So I was listening to music, and as I would listen to songs, an image would pop into my mind, and I would jot it down. Like there's an old song by this group called Ting Ting, and the song's called That's Not My Name, and they go, "That's not my name, that's not my name." And in my head, I saw these little kids jumping up and down on a bed. And that's smack in the middle of the book, Fairly Safe.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so that's where I ended, that's how I started. But then I went back to teaching, and if anybody is a teacher, you know when you're teaching, that's all you can do. So I was only writing during the summers.
Right. Yeah, I know teaching takes 24 hours a day.
Exactly.
During the school year. I have a few friends that are teachers, and I can't tell you how much I admire their dedication and hard work.
Thank you.
On top of, their 8-hour days in the class with the kids. It's
Yeah.
incredible.
I always wondered all my life what it would be like to have a job where you left the job and you didn't do work.
Right.
I don't know what that feels like, because now that I keep hitting the microphone. Now that I'm home, I'm an entrepreneur, I can't shut it off either. So I had my teaching career where you go home and you work until bed and then you go to sleep and then you get up and go to school. And now I have my entrepreneurial side where you wake up in the middle of the night with an idea and you start in on
Right.
it, you know.
Yep. So, I assume that you retired from teaching.
Yes, I stopped teaching when I noticed that I had 2 manuscripts.
Okay.
And I thought, oh, I could be an author.
Yeah.
So I stopped teaching, and then that was the first time I heard the M word, marketing. And
Yeah.
I didn't write a word for like a year and a half after I stopped teaching because I was trying to figure out what to do with the books.
Right.
And I have not to date figured that out. It's like hit or miss. Sometimes they get real popular, and sometimes it's like crickets, and I have no idea why.
Yep. A lot of, unless I guess, I mean, I don't know because I've never been published by a big publishing house. I don't know how.
I'm indie also.
That works, or how they, distribute, whatever. I personally get a big kick just out of one-on-one giving my book to people. For some reason, I just feel there's like this connection, or I'm giving a little piece of myself, or saying, hey, look at this kind of thing. And to me, it's good enough for now. I mean, of course, I wish I could retire and, lay on the beach and then get up and, write for a couple hours and have a Mai Tai and then write for another hour and then, but we just keep plugging along, So
I love it when I sell a book on Amazon, but I mean, I really do. But I don't know who bought it.
right.
I don't know. I don't get to see them thumbing through it and go, oh, this looks really cool. Or this is exactly what I was looking for. You miss all that interaction.
And you know what? I'm just going to say, too, I get disappointed in the fact that I really wish people would be more writing reviews and more responsive.
Yes.
But I don't think, even if, I know some people just go and buy my book, rarely or whatever on Amazon. I never know. Sometimes it's a good month, sometimes it's not. But I don't know, like you said, I don't know where the books went. And then I don't know, well, did you enjoy it? Did you, I mean.
I don't know how much you enjoyed it.
Right, because I don't think people realize it's almost like being an actor or an entertainer. I don't know if people realize how good it feels when somebody comes up to you and says, oh, I read your book. Oh, I loved your book.
Can I have the second one?
Yeah, you have another one coming? That kind of thing. I love that.
Me too.
And I think most authors do, really. Now, before we get into your books, too, there's a couple of other books. One was, I just want to make sure I say this right, The Power of Your Inner Brilliance, Stories of Self-Love, Self-Worth, and Confidence, and Manifested Blessings.
They're both anthologies, and I was very honored to be a part of them. And both of them, coincidentally, are all female authors.
Right.
And basically, there was a theme. Each one of them had a theme, and we wrote according to that.
Now, how did you, I'm just fascinated by that. I love the idea. How did that come about? How did you...
I went to a conference, and I met some other people there who were interested in doing that. And I shared some of the things I had written, and they approached me and said that they would like me to be part of it. So, of course, that was wonderful ego strokes.
Right.
I live for praise. And it was just very exciting to be shoulder to shoulder with other women who are saying to the world, wake up.
Wow. Now, when you wrote these anthologies, you submitted your story or your part. Mm-hmm. Did they edit it? How did you...
We were given, we were told that it needs to be so many words. And then we wrote it, and we sent it to them, and they sent back suggested edits, which you could do or not do. It was your prerogative. And then they accepted it back. So.
Okay. All right. And then then they printed it? Did you get...
We got, in both cases, we got about 10 copies. Okay. And you could order more if you wanted to.
Oh, good. That's great.
Oh, yeah. It was very cool.
Yeah, that's we were talking earlier, that'd be the kind of challenge I'd like to throw out to Kappa sometime,
Yes.
Pick a theme, and it's just good exercise, too.
Exactly, exactly.
Sometimes it'll take you out of your comfort zone, which is...
It definitely does, because when you're writing your own book, you are the critique, you are in your head, you're centered, and you're looking at it in a very objective way. The minute you bring on another person, you start looking over your shoulder.
Right.
You start saying, how's this going to look to them? So it's an interesting exercise compared to writing it by yourself.
Right. So you're a mother, obviously.
Yes.
You have a daughter.
Yes, I do. A wonderful daughter, objectively speaking, of course.
I was fascinated reading, or I just liked reading the point because it kind of reminded me of myself in a way. You were saying when you became a new mother, you weren't sure how you were going to do with this. I was the same way. I was petrified of having a child. I was like, oh my God, how am I going to raise a kid? What am I going to teach him? How am I going to? And I don't know. It just happens. I guess I just figured.
Yeah, I was like, I don't know how to give her a bath.
Yeah. I figured, well, it's been doing it for 10,000 years. Somebody will help me or I'll figure it out, But you've really developed a strong relationship, and you've used that relationship in your books.
I do. My book, How to Keep Your Daughter from Slamming the Door, I showed it to my daughter, and she said, Mom, you can't write that book. I didn't slam the door. And I said, why do you think that is?
Yeah. That's great. I know. And the door is not, when I first heard the title, I'm thinking, just a temper tantrum, slamming a door. But you really mean keeping an open relationship with your daughter, or keeping lines of communication.
But it's lines of communication. That's what it's about, because slamming doors, rolling eyes, all that kind of teenage behavior is this big flag that says, I can't cope, I can't cope, I can't cope. But parents who, like 99% of them, are overstretched and have too much on their plate already, they tend to take those signs at their child's distress personally. So when the door slams, they forget that the slamming door is something happening to the child, not happening to you.
Oh, well, that's a point, yeah.
So when you understand that the stomping feet and the snarling and all that is the child's way of self-soothing, because it's bottling up in them and they don't know what to do with it. And obviously mom doesn't understand what's going on, so that means I have to figure it out by myself, and it escalates until they slam the door. And people think, oh, it's a disciplinary thing. No, it's a stress thing.
Well, I gotta say, in my life growing up, I've had a lot of friends with children. I have 2 boys, so I just never had a daughter, so I can't really talk about that kind of relationship. But I have seen in my life, it's an incredible difference between a mother and daughter's relationship and a father-daughter relationship.
Yes, yes.
And I think in a lot of ways, the male is more like, I don't know, go ask your mother, or, you explain it to her, that kind of thing. So
I just want to say that strategy works really well in both directions. You just have to apply it correctly.
Yeah.
For the wife saying,
I don't want to
go ask your father.
I don't want to sound sexist or unwoke. I understand that many men have wonderful relationships with it, and they do have wonderful relationships. I'm just saying that it always seems to be very different to me, and it seems to be when. Well, I don't know. It's probably I know maybe it is a sexist or silly, but it's easier for a man to show his son how to be a man, or would he like him to become a man or a good person. It's easier for a man to do that with his son than a daughter, I think. And I think maybe it's not easier, but
trust me, if you suddenly were given a girl to raise right this minute, you would jump in with both feet and you would figure it out, because all that trepidation you had about raising your boys didn't really turn out to be true, did it?
No.
Neither would having a girl in your life.
I guess that's true.
And the other thing is that there's all these different personality types, right? You could go online and take quizzes and figure out what your personality type is, which I totally am an advocate for. And you figure out your personality type and your spouse's personality type, and then you can figure out how to bridge the gaps between you, because it's laid out right there saying, well, they receive my XYZ message as ABC. So if I want them to get the XYZ of it, I need to say it in a way that they understand. Because if you're going at them in a way that they don't receive it, it's like doing sign language behind a wall trying to tell somebody that you love them.
Right.
Right? They're not getting the message, right? Then you add a child into that mix who has a third personality, which will be a combination of you guys, or maybe not. Maybe it's your parents' personality, right? And they will figure out who the daddy is and who the mommy is on their own. My daughter's got it as completely pigeonholed. She calls up and talks to me about relationships and boys and life and feeling at work. She calls him up and talks about connections at work and business and taxes and all this business. And I say to her, you know, I do know how to do my taxes. I did taxes for years, but when I was single. And she's going, no offense, Mom, but that's what Daddy does. And I'm like, fine,
Okay.
that's his job for you. That's fine with me. So she has it designated. She calls us up and she'll say, hi, Mom, is Daddy there? And I'll say, yes, you need to talk to him. She goes, no, I need to talk to you. And so he can, well, okay, you know what? He can listen if he wants.
Well, that's great.
But she does the same thing with him. Is Mom there? Well, okay, she can listen if she wants.
Yeah. Well, that's good. I mean, it's good to use your resources,
Exactly.
You gotta love it. Now, your other book is How to Have a Conversation with Your Daughter.
No, it's the How to Get Your Happy On.
Oh, I'm sorry. Oh,
No.
wait, that was...
What this book, How to Keep Your Daughter from Slamming the Door,
is
How to Have the
a conversation with
Conversations.
your daughter.
Right,
Okay.
right.
And now, have you done lectures or talks about this?
Oh, many times. Yes, I hold workshops, and I did a retreat for moms and teenage daughters where they came together and I taught them how to recognize each other, basically, and we did a bunch of exercises, and everybody left going, yes, I know how to handle I know how to handle her. The mom's going that about the daughter, and the daughter's going on about the mom.
I think that's kind of a great thing, because one of the things I think I learned when I got older, I mean, I grew up in the military. My father was in the military, stuff. So it was kind of a rigid thing.
Mm-hmm.
But then when I got older and I got married and I had children, I realized that my father and me really weren't that much apart. We were really very similar people.
Mm-hmm.
Had a lot of similar attitudes, similar mannerisms and stuff like that. Things that I didn't see when I was younger.
Mm-hmm.
And it might have made our relationship a little easier when we were younger.
If you'd understood.
If we'd understood it.
Mm-hmm.
And I think a lot of times, sometimes I say that more to her when I'm talking to the younger guys at work, and when I used to have dishwasher 16, they used to complain about their parents, or other people complain, and I used to say, you just don't know them. You got to take the time to know them.
I had in one of my workshops, I had a mother and a daughter who banged heads constantly, but they both had leadership personalities.
Okay.
They both wanted to be in charge.
Right.
But once the mother understood that, it made a whole difference in their relationship, because she understood that the daughter wasn't trying to take over her position or thwart her or be disrespectful. This was the daughter moving through life the way she understood it.
Right. See, that's a great point.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I'm saying. It probably would help a lot of relationships. Sometimes you see a lot of troubled teens and troubled kids out there,
Yes.
and their parents, they're good people. Mm-hmm. There's nothing, they're not bad people.
No.
They don't mistreat their children. They don't, how does this, you know what I mean?
And if you follow the things that your parents did with you because you feel like you turned out well and your relationship was great, and you try to do that with your kids, but they have a different personality type,
Right.
everything falls apart.
Right.
And then the kids, again, feel like, I'm on my own here. I got to figure out life because my parents don't get me,
Yeah.
which is scary. No
Yeah.
kid wants that.
Yeah.
Trust me. All the ones who are saying they want their independence, they want their independence with some guidance over their shoulder.
Right.
Because they want to know, am I okay?
Right.
Is
Yeah.
everything
Am
all right?
I okay?
Have I ruined things?
Yep.
Like every time the door gets slammed, the kid's all filled with emotion and it comes out with that slamming. And they are not in a position where they can judge how much damage that caused. So they have to open that door back up and come back out and find out if they've ruined everything or not. That's scary for a
Yeah.
kid.
It is. And it's it's hard enough world out there anyways, dealing with
That's right.
with the way the world is now.
And then the message is, I love you no matter what. I love you when you slam the door. I love you when your grades are low. I love you when you disobey me. I love you no matter what. I may not like the door slamming or the low grades or the disobeying, but I love you.
Right.
And that really goes a long way, carries a lot of weight.
I guess it goes both ways. I mean, I guess a child should realize that their parent is a person.
That's not going
just
to happen. No.
Yeah, I mean, you know what I mean?
That's not going to happen. They are not capable of it. When I did the personality test with my workshop, I had them do it for themselves, and then I had them do it so the mother pretended she was the daughter, and the daughter pretended she was the mom. So the moms got their kids right. They knew who they were when they answered the questions. They may not have known before, but
Right.
they got it right because they matched what the daughters came up with. All the daughters, every single one of them, colored the mother with their own personality.
Okay.
Every single one of them. If this girl thought she was a leader, she put her mother as a leader. If this girl was a nurturer, she put her mother as a nurturer. Every single one of them, because they cannot see outside of their own lens. They're not capable of it. Their frontal lobe with logic and reasoning is not fully developed. I'm a science geek.
Yeah.
And they're not capable of it. They're capable of hearing the differences and learning the differences, but they're not capable of understanding it on their own.
Well, that's why, like I was saying, it wasn't until I was older that I really started seeing my parents as people.
That's right.
You know, as different. You know, it was just always mom and dad. You know, but then when you really realize that they're actually people that grew up like you did and had
Yes,
childhoods, and
that's right.
and you know went and did crazy things and had fun, and you know it's an eye opener. I don't know. I tried to pass that on to my kids a little bit. I don't know, but they turned out okay. You know.
Good job. Good
At least
job.
They're not in jail anyway, so you know we're good enough.
And
So-
you're not.
Yes, and I'm not. Yes, which is brings us to your next book, How to Get Your Happy On.
Yes.
Now, what brought this about?
In 2018, my husband lost the use of his arm, and it turned out he needed to have a whole bunch of discs replaced, 3 in his neck. So the way the things work here in the United States, our insurance wouldn't pay for it, and it was going to cost $65,000, but they would only do 2 discs. They had to do the 3rd disc on a separate operation. So funny, but we just didn't have $65,000 in our back pocket. And we weren't sure what we were going to do. And we were sharing this with our daughter, and she's there typing on the while we're talking on the phone, and she goes, "Have you ever heard of GoFundMe? And I just made you a GoFundMe page." And she put it up there, and it was the most incredible, miraculous thing. We raised $30,000 in a month. And that's a testament to all the people that my husband and I have helped over the years, because most of the donations were like $25 to $100. And just, you know, we put it out there that we need some help, and people came out of the woodwork.
Oh, that's great.
And then we ended up having the surgery in Germany because my husband said, well, if we're going to have to pay for it, not insurance, I'm going to find the best doctor. So he found the doctor who trains the American doctors in the surgery. And over there, they did all 3 discs at the same time. And it cost $20,000 less. And instead of 1 night in the hospital, we got 6 nights in the hospital, and we got 8 nights in a rehab center. And they fed both of us the whole time. Yes, they fed me. I even got a massage out of it. And they drove us to all of our doctor's appointments. It was all included.
Wow.
Right? And so, yes, things being the way they are, we're still paying off the rest of that debt, but we were able to do it because of the kindness of all these people. So I wanted to find a way to give back because sending a little thank you card just didn't really cut it, you know? And this, how to get your happy on, is a revision of a little section in the How to Keep Your Daughter from Slamming the Door book. And I wrote this and I sent it to everybody who had made a donation to help them with their lives, right? And then, boom, we went right into 2020 and COVID. So my husband had his operation in April of 2019, and that ended the worst year of our lives. So as the world was struggling with an awful year in 2020, we were like, whew, things are better now.
Yeah.
It was just so incongruent with everything that was going on around us. I was sitting there feeling thankful and grateful and happy while the world was falling apart. So for the next year and a half, I had the book on my website for free for anybody who needed it because I didn't know how to help, and that was my way of helping. And now I hold workshops with the book, so I help people work through what it is they need to do to get in touch with themselves in order to bring themselves to a better place.
Yeah, I mean, I don't want to give away the book, but generally, what's how to get your happy on? I mean,
now this is all based on science research because, as I have said before, I am a self-professed science geek. I taught high school science for 27 years, and I love science. So I love inspiration too, but it's not enough to hold my attention. I needed to find a way to do the book in a way that is science-based. So there are ways to actually generate on-demand happy hormones physically, no matter what's going on in your mood, because your body can't tell the difference once you tell it to do something. It does it whether you're faking it or not. So there are 10 basic ways that you can get your happy on, all really easy, and one of them is, believe it or not, taking care of your health. It actually generates happy hormones just making the decision to do it.
Sort of like running endorphins, like they say, runners, they get the endorphins.
Yes, endorphins, oxytocin, I mean, like hugs. Hugs, if you have a hug that lasts 20 seconds, you release your happy hormones.
Well, I guess
So the
hugs
book
not
is,
drugs. That's a perfect example, isn't it?
Exactly. So the book is filled with all kinds of techniques you can do to make things better and how to physically generate your happy hormones for yourself.
Wow. Now you have a workshop coming up.
Yeah, June 3rd to the 5th.
Right.
And it's called Get Your Happy On and Keep It On. So it's about there are 10 ways how to get your happy on that are from the book, and everybody gets a copy of the book, obviously. And then there's 12 quick fixes, the things that you can do to generate the happy hormones immediately. So like when you're in the middle of someone yelling at you, you can get this little surge of calm that wasn't there a second ago. And that's not just by going, it's physical. And then there's the workshop also deals with how to maintain the momentum that you gain during the workshop, because when you take workshops, you walk away with this kind of euphoria that disappears again, and then you have to figure out how to maintain it. So that's what the workshop's for.
Okay, so this is June 3rd through the 5th.
Yes.
Where is it at?
It's virtual.
Virtual, okay.
So it's wherever you're at.
All right, perfect. And you have the information up, and you can find it on your website,
It's on
too?
my website, deborahanndavis.com. And you can send me an email, and I can send you some information, or you can just register right there on the page.
All right, perfect. Well, thank you so much for being on the show.
Thank you.
And you're here with debut with the new green screen. So, I mean, this is a lot of firsts today.
It sure is.
Wish you all the luck in the world with this, and hope to see you again.
Thank you.
And perhaps we'll meet at one of the Kappa meetings, too.
Definitely.
Thank you again. So that's been it for Books and Beyond this time. Thank you very much. I'm Jimmy Bennett, your host, and we'll see you next time.